What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Glad to see you guys again. Glad to be making another video for you guys again. Just a reminder, we did hit 1,000 subscribers. We're at about 1,116 as of today, December 9th, 2022. So again, thank you guys for subscribing to the channel. For you new guys out there, for you OGs out there, thank you guys for sticking through all the way up to 1,000 and still today and ongoing for future videos as well. So thank you guys. I really appreciate getting to 1,000 subscribers and putting all of this content and videos out for you guys to watch and enjoy. Again, you guys, I said at 1,000 subscribers, you guys will have more of an input on the channel now for things that we do, things that we talk about here on the channel. So again, leave your comments down below. And as you guys know, for me, especially all my OG subscribers, I do get back to all of you guys' comments. So please, if I missed you or anything like that, don't be afraid to put another comment in there. Say, hey, you missed my comment right here, or this is what I said. Do you mind replying back to it? Again, I apologize if I did miss it, but most of my subscribers know, or all of my subscribers know, that I do get back to you guys in a timely fashion. So if you feel like your comment is very important, please leave a comment down below and I will get back to you on that comment. But as you guys can see as the thumbnail and title of the video, today's video is going to be about why the Corvette was gone for about 2 years. And as you can see with the thumbnail, got into a car accident. So basically this video, for you guys that just want a short video, the main topics and the main points will be at the beginning and the end of the video. So if you guys want to play about 2 to 3 minutes of the first part of the video, right after me talking about this portion of it, and then skip to the very end, you're welcome to do so. Or if you wouldn't be so kind and watching the full video all the way through, I would really appreciate it. So I have to use my phone for this. I took some notes down because I want to make sure all of you guys get all of the details of what really happened to the Corvette and why it was gone for 2 years and why it is now back. So let's just dive right into it. So got my notes right here on my phone. So the day was July 18th, 2020. So 2 years ago. Drove to Columbus to see my now wife. So she was my girlfriend at the time. So I drove the Corvette. So the weather, it was good the day that I drove there. I stayed overnight. The weather was beautiful, 75 and sunny. The next day's weather was a morning rain for about 2 to 3 hours, from about 7 a.m. until 9 a.m. and it was heavy rain. Then it said it would be sunny and 75 like the previous day, and throughout the rest of that day, which was the day that I was leaving to come back home here to Cleveland, Ohio, in the city that I lived in at the time. So it was about 6 p.m. that day that I was leaving, which was around the usual time that I usually leave her place to come back to my place because I had work the next day. So it was about a 2.5 hour drive home. It's about 70 degrees out and with very little drizzle, in literally one city that I'm driving through on the highway to come back here to Cleveland, Ohio. So it was just a little, if you would take, I want to say, a spray bottle and spray the spray bottle with water in it around. That's kind of what it was like for driving through one city on the highway. So it was like 75 here, sunny, dry, a little bit of spritz rain here in this one city, and then ahead of that city or the next city after that city is 75 and sunny again. So it's kind of like rain in the middle, and then two cities, neighboring cities, had sunny and 75, dry pavement. So after I get about, I want to say 30 minutes out down the highway, then this happens. So check out these photos. Yeah, pretty bad. So pretty bad, especially like when it first happened, pretty bad. Knowing what I know now, it wasn't bad at all from the fixing it standpoint. It looks a lot worse than what it really was, especially at the time that I was getting out and looking at the car and what the tow driver was talking to me about, etc. But knowing what I know now, I would have did things differently. So just a heads up with that. So I'll make a future video probably right after this or within a couple of days explaining the process of how we actually fixed the Corvette back and what I would have did differently right after the accident. So going further here with the story is that I was traveling, normal speed limit there was 65 miles an hour. So I'm just cruising along. I'm in the far left lane, going the speed limit. So I wasn't in the far left lane going 75, 80, 90 miles an hour or anything like that. So everybody knows that is the faster lane out of all the highway lanes that there is. Everybody knows that people who want to drive faster can utilize the far left lane to go faster and pass slower moving traffic. But I was going 65. No one was around me for about, I want to say, at least 8 car lengths. So I'm cruising along and I get to this one section of road where it's a little darker than the rest. And I'm thinking, okay, this is probably just an asphalt repair that was done on the highway. No, it was not. It wasn't. So I go over it, and next thing I know, the car has literally gone weightless. And my heart and my stomach just drop and sink. And at this point, I'm going about 50 miles an hour into a sideways slide and trying to gain control and just couldn't. The car was weightless and not gaining any of its control back through the steering wheel, the gas, the brake, the e-brake, nothing. The car was weightless. So what happened was I was hydroplaning. That was a puddle that I went over. And the back tire, as soon as I went over it with the front tires, the back tires obviously are next, and everything just went weightless. So this all happens within about 4 seconds, and I slam right into a guardrail. I slide for another 4 or 5 feet after I hit the guardrail, and I'm sliding on the right rim. The right rim at this point is turned sideways. Literally, it's not straight up and down anymore. It's turned sideways. So all of my right axle, tie rods, that all failed and snapped and turned the wheel sideways when I hit the guardrail, and I was literally sliding sideways on my right front rim. First things first, the most important part is that I'm alive. I'm alive to tell you guys the story and what really happened. I'm alive to see my now wife and my now child. I'm alive to see the rest of my family. I'm alive to go back to work. I'm alive to make more money. I'm alive to do any and everything that I still want to do in this life. So again, the second most important thing is that I'm alive. But going along with that is that I didn't injure anybody else either. So like I said, no one was around me for about 8 car lengths. So there were 2 cars behind me that kind of saw the whole thing, but they kept going after I crashed, unfortunately. So no one came to say or ask if I was okay, which is all right. It is what it is, but they're not obligated to do so. It's just a nice thing to do. I didn't injure anybody. I didn't put anybody else in harm's way. but myself and the car. And I'm very lucky that the car took all of the impact, and I walked away just fine, like I am today right now, with not a scratch on me, not a bump, not a bruise, no head trauma, nothing. The car took all the impact, like I just said, but now, as you can see, it's back. It's fixed for the most part. I'll tell the rest at the end here, so that'll be the second kind of portion that I was talking to you guys earlier on in the video. If you wanted to just skip ahead to the end, go ahead and skip ahead now, because the rest of this is just kind of further detail of what happened and the details within that. So that was the gist of it. I hydroplaned on a puddle and crashed into a guardrail. So some further details here is that the crash happened on July 19th, so that next day after I got to Columbus. So July 19th, 2022 was the crash date. Right after the crash, right after I came to a stop after hitting the guardrail and sliding for another 4 or 5 feet, I was pretty much instantly drenched in sweat. So I was basically in shock, like, wow, this really just happened. I really just crashed this car. Like, this is my baby. This is something that I've worked up to. Countless hours of working my butt off, sweating, getting work done to get paid extra overtimes, to put mods on it, stuff like that. A lot of time and money spent. So when all that comes over you in one moment, is emotional, it's hard to deal with, and you lose your train of thought a little bit, and you're just like, wow, that really just happened. So right after that, right after I kind of gained my composure a little bit and get some sense into me, I immediately call my family and tell them that I'm all right. I call my insurance, a tow truck. I call my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, to tell her what happened. So she's right now in a little bit of a panic, and she's asking me on the phone, where am I, so she can get in the car and make sure I'm okay and come to be my savior, if you would say. But she was, honestly, she was my savior that day. So she got me calm and collected so that I can make some more rational decisions and make the right decisions at the time of the accident, especially when talking to the police officer that showed up later, and the tow truck guy, and my insurance company. So she kind of got me together and told me that, hey, you're still alive, you're okay. Yes, it sucks, but you're gonna be all right. So I wait, the tow truck comes and picks the car up. A cop, like I said, a cop pulls up. Like, I'm already embarrassed enough, like talking to the tow truck guy and having my girl come pick me up, and telling her about it and what happened. Like, I just crashed. To me at the time, was when you've worked so hard for something and then it all gets taken away in a few seconds, it gets to you a little bit. And for all of us car enthusiasts, we can't be without our babies. So it hurts when something bad happens to them, or when they got to go to the shop and get all doctored up again and get new parts and stuff like that. So it hurts the wallet a little bit too. But it is what it is. That's part of being a car guy, being a motorcycle guy, working with equipment and stuff like that. Is going to happen. They're wear items. They're depreciating assets in reality. But it just sucks sometimes, and life happens. But again, we live to see another day. Hopefully, if you guys have had any family members not live to see another day, I apologize for that. So God be with you guys, and rest in peace to those people. But if you are lucky enough to walk away and live another day, that's also good as well. So after the cop pulls up, my girl pulls up kind of about, I want to say, 4 to 8 minutes before the cop pulls up. But the cop gives me a ticket for crashing into the guardrail. This is basically to cover the highway items cost, like the guardrail, to replace it. So that's the big reason of why they give tickets for like that when you tell them what happened, so that the highway patrol and their companies can go out and fix any damage that you caused to any of the highway guardrails or any signage or anything like that. So after the tow truck gets the car on the tow truck, after I talk to the cop and he gives me my ticket, unfortunately, my girlfriend and we get in her car and we follow the tow truck to a place called Caliber Collision. I'm sure some of you have heard of that before, but the reason why the car went there was because, again, I was closer to Columbus and I lived here in Cleveland, Ohio, on the east side portion, and with my insurance, I basically told the tow truck driver, and he told me back that he could only take my car so far. So Caliber Collision in Worcester was the furthest place that I trusted to take the car and get it there, get it somewhere overnight, to where the next day or however many days later I could come back and get the car closer to my home and the actual place that I wanted the car to be at. But long story short, the car ended up staying there in Worcester and then going to a place called Copart. And again, for that aspect, if I would have known what I knew, or if I would have knew what I know now, I would have did that a little differently, based on letting them keep the car and then give it to Copart. So I would have actually, I'll tell you guys right now, I would have bought it from Copart right then and there when my insurance decided to sell it to Copart or give it to Copart to have them auction the car off. And my insurance did pay me out for the car, and that being said, they totaled out the car based on the pictures that you guys saw. They felt that it was right to total out the car, and they gave me 15 grand for it. Me and my girlfriend, we follow the tow truck to make sure the car gets there to Worcester and Caliber Collision. We could only go so many miles, like I said. That was the closest shop to me that I could go based on the mileage that I had for my tow. But again, at this point, while I'm riding with my girlfriend in the car, I'm still in shock. So after we make sure the car gets there, we go back to my girlfriend's place. I call off work for the next day because I'm in just no mood, I guess, to go to work the next day and try to figure out the car situation and what I was going to do. Because I was hurt, man. I was really hurt. Not physically hurt, but emotionally hurt with the car. And that, again, trying to go over everything that I could have done better, what I did wrong, why I didn't actually see it as a puddle, and why I saw it as just a new asphalt repair that looked black, but it wasn't. It was actually a dark, big puddle of all that rain just sitting down in one section. It was like a little divot in the highway, and then it kind of was going down at an angle and then up a little bit, and right in that middle section was where that water was sitting. And why I thought it was an asphalt repair is because sometimes asphalt does get repaired there to make both of that, or to make that incline or decline and incline kind of like a smoother transition. So I do some of that work. So that's what I thought it was, and I was very confident in that's what it was. But again, it wasn't, and what you guys saw happened, and what I'm telling you now is what happened. So hydroplaned and hit a guardrail. Like I said, the insurance paid me out $15K for the car. I accepted it. Still in shock and not thinking straight. I go back home here to Cleveland, Ohio. The next day I got some advice from one of my coworkers, actually, or the next day after that next day that I took off. So I went back to work, I think, that next Tuesday. And I got some advice from the coworker that I originally bought the car from to go back and get all the parts that I could off of the car before they gave it away or sent it somewhere else where I had no idea where the car would be. And they aren't obligated to tell you that when they total your car out and then your insurance takes it over. So you lose the title and everything like that when they do that. And then the car is no longer yours and in your name. So at this point, it's July 21st. And I go back to Caliber Collision in Worcester after that I got that advice to take everything off the car that I could, not knowing that it wasn't going to be in my possession anymore, and taken to a place, like I said, Copart. And me again, not knowing this and knowing what I know now, this is when I should have offered to buy the car back, because at that point it was at its lowest point, which was $3,000. Because what they didn't know was that this was a Z06 and that it had a cam and tune and full exhaust and tinted windows and all these different upgrades on it, and rims and tires. And then once they saw pictures of it and once they saw the engine and everything like that, the price went up to $11K. So that was the mistake of, if this ever happened to me again, or if it ever happens to any of you guys that don't know this, if you want to keep your car, if something happens and your insurance totals out your car and it's a car that you want to keep and put back together and fix, buy it as soon as possible. Don't let your insurance or other, I guess, auctionees or whoever come see your car, or just as soon as possible buy your car back, because that's going to be the cheapest point to buy your car back. If you wait and wait and wait like I did, I waited 2 weeks, that's when I saw that price go from $3K when Copart got it to them actually doing the inspection on it so that they could auction it off and then put their price tag on it. And they put the $3K price tag on it when they first got it. And then when I checked the website again 2 weeks later, again, not knowing any better, because I didn't know any of this information and know to buy it back sooner, price went to $11,000. So learn from my mistake with that, and now I know all of that information for future reference, and now all of you guys know that too as well if you didn't know that. So again, that's when I should have bought the car back, but I didn't know any of that at the time. I didn't even know I wanted the car back, because again, like as you guys saw in the pictures, it looked worse than what it actually was in the pictures, and seeing it for myself right there right after the accident, like it looked like, all right, my car is totaled, and that's what the insurance is going to say, even though they did say that. But still, knowing what I know now, I would have been like, all right, well, I'm just gonna buy it back from you guys when you total it out and give it to Copart. So I would have asked them for all that information, and as soon, I would have probably had it towed right to my house from Caliber Collision in Worcester, and Copart would have never even received it on their lot, for them to be able to say, all right, well, we looked at it now, we saw it's a Z06, we saw it's got these rims and tires, we see it's cammed and tuned, and it's got this full exhaust in the wing, and it's a nice interior, so we're gonna bump it up to 11K. So that will never happen if they don't even get to personally see the car on their lot and have hours or 8 hours per day, whatever time they work, to actually inspect the full car to get their actual price on of what they're going to auction it off for, or maybe sell it for parts, whatever the situation may be. So again, at this point, my insurance gives me or tells me and talks to me about, hey, well, we're totaling out the car, we're going to give you $15K for it. I accepted it. And this is when I should have used that money to buy the car back and fix it up. So that would have been a real sweet deal right there. But I didn't do that because I didn't know any of that at the time. So the car now, after I take all the parts off and a week and a half goes by, the car goes to Copart, and that's when they put that $3K price tag on it, and then another week later it jumps to that $11,000 price. After putting it all back together, most of it was all just fiberglass work, and I guess with the insurance company, they didn't want to work with a bunch of fiberglass or basically here's what happened. Caliber Collision in Worcester gave them a price on what it would take to put all that fiberglass back together, or find another C5 Corvette with the same fiberglass, or another C5 Corvette with fiberglass stuff, and do the work to fix this car back. And they were like, no, let's just total it out. So that's what happened with that. But again, knowing what I know now, could have did it a lot cheaper and got $15K from my insurance, and then bought the car right back, and then did the work how we did it, me and my buddy Greg, and how he did it as well with that money. So now at this point, when the car goes to Copart and it's now at this $11K price, my buddy Greg comes up to me and we start talking, and he kind of encourages me to get the car back and buy the car back. But I tell him, hey, I just don't have the money right now. I was actually using that $15K that I got from my insurance on a wedding, savings, investing, and landscaping equipment, and a new truck, to all make me more money. So I used that $15K to invest in myself, my wife, my business, to make me some more money. So I was in the thought process of, all right, my baby's gone, so I gotta do some more work, some extra work again, to save up some more money to buy another one someday. So that was my thought process, what I was gonna do with that $15K. So I used it. I split it up. I used that $15K for some numerous amounts of things. So I was grateful for that. But again, knowing what I know now, probably would have used some of it to buy this back as soon as possible at that $3K price, and still had at least $12K left over to do some work with this, and split it up again how I did it with the rest of that money, or with all of that money when it was at that $15K point. So here's where we are now. My buddy and I talk, and he agrees to buy it back. This is me and my buddy Greg talking about buying the Corvette back when he finds out, and then I tell him that, hey, it's at Copart, this is where it's at now, the price, and blah, blah, blah. So my buddy and I, we talk, and we agree that he's gonna buy it back with his own money. He's gonna fix it up. He's gonna give it back to me, and then I'm gonna pay him whatever it took to fix the car. So that does end up happening because my $15K that I was getting from my insurance wasn't even in the mail yet. I didn't even have it yet. So that's why I told him, hey, I don't have the money yet to buy the car back. I don't have any money to fix it up, blah, blah, blah. So that's what we agreed on, and that's what ends up happening. So here we are now today. He did his part. The car is back. It's fixed. For the most part, it's fixed damage and cosmetic wise. We still gotta get the paint reworked again. Probably gonna go with some PPF film or some XPEL like we did on the truck, as you guys saw in that video. Rims and tires, clean up the interior, put some new seats in there because these C5 seats are shot now. And a little just cosmetic stuff. We still got to put the emblem back on. This new bumper, as you guys saw in that video, this is a new bumper off of a base C5. So it does have the fog light insert, but I'm not putting fog lights in this car. Got to get the grill inserts for the front here as well. And just a bunch of little detail stuff that we have to get this car back to what it used to be. So now it's my turn to do my part and pay him back the amount for fixing the car. So I won't disclose that amount just yet. That'll be for a future video on what it costs to fix the car. So I do owe that back to him for if I want to keep the car. So if I just say, hey, I don't have the money, I don't want to pay for it, the car will be going back to him. But the car, as of right now, is in my name, and I do have the title for it that's in my name. So I do plan on paying him for the car and taking the time to fix it, and giving me all the knowledge as well to now know what I know now. And because I would have did things differently right after the accident if I would have knew what I know now. So again, I was still kind of hurt. I was blaming myself, overthinking what went wrong, not thinking to buy the car back right away at its cheapest price before anything or anyone else got their hands on it, to know it was a Z06 with bolt-ons and a cam and a tune and stuff like that. But that happened when it got to Copart. So like we said, that 3 to 11K price increase. But knowing it's life and that things happen, and that now I'm okay and I'm alive still, is the most important thing. We'll live to fight another day, learn from it, second chance with the car, it's back now. So that's the truth, guys. So that's what really happened with the Corvette, why it was gone for 2 years, and why it's now back. And got future videos to make, got different scenery in here, different garage, so a lot more future videos will be made here in this garage and in this driveway that we're now in, with my wife and my child now. So things will be slower, some things will be faster. It just is what it is. You guys know I respond to all you guys' comments as quickly as I can, especially if I see it right away. But I think I'll end it right there, guys. So again, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. A lot more content coming with the Corvette, the Resurrection. So thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn.